Good afternoon and welcome. Today, what I want to do is create another painting looking at our ridge from yesterday. And I really want to just kind of give this a second go. I think the last time we did it, we did a pretty good job, but you can kind of see right over there. So, um, this is the sketch from yesterday that I worked on. This is the one from this morning that I kind of thought about. What I really want to focus on is this mountain that became the central part of the last painting I made yesterday. And what I'm going to do is really focus on, instead of having a bright spot, what I really want to do is focus on having a light side of the painting and a dark side. And what I want to do is have a transition from a deep blue to a brighter orange to imagine that this is the direction of the light afternoon sun coming in. So as if this is our light source here, coming in that direction, shining through. What I'm going to do now is just sketch this out. And I'm going to place the top of our mountain, I think, right about there is roughly where I want it. And I'm just going to loosely sketch this in, thinking about where I want this to go. On the far side here, we also have a more direct line like that. And we also have our horizon just below the tip here. It's not important this is precise simply because of the fact that we're going to be painting this anyway. So it's just a matter of having this be kind of something like this. And we're going to have our foliage here. And kind of dropping off in this direction with foliage coming in this direction. Notice how there are different directions as well, so we're going to point different ways. We're going to have a heavier shading here. That is definitely already there. And some clouds probably on this side like that. I have put a grid on here just to kind of help me with the composition. I'm also not very concerned with the area that's outside of this. It'll be blocked by the frame that it goes in eventually. And what I want to do first is put an underpainting down. To do that, what I'm going to do is mix together some burnt sienna. Oh, I almost did it again. Before I do any of that, what I'm going to do is try something new. I'm going to pre-treat my canvas with some Liquitex acrylic slow dry formula. This should help the paint dry a little bit slower. And as I go along, what it's going to do is help the paint move a little bit. Try not to spill all over the place. Usually I would do this with water as a canvas pre-treat, but I kind of just want to see how this looks. I'm just going to squeeze a little bit into this corner of my little impervious thingamajig. Going to take a utility brush, and I'm just going to get this good and wet. And I'm just going to apply this to the canvas. Not worried that it's smearing my stuff a little bit, my sketch a little bit. I just want my canvas to be wet so that when we begin to apply paint, it'll move a little bit. Ooh. You can tell these brushes aren't very good because I'm already losing hair. Cool. Now that we've done that, I'm going to rinse this off in my water. I'm going to put it off to the side. I'm also going to get a lot of paper towels ready, probably about 4 or 5. So I want to be ready to clean my palette knife as I'm doing this. But before I do that, what I want to do is grab some burnt sienna. And I'm going to pour this right into that same slow drying spot that I had. So this paint will also be a little bit slow to dry. And what I'm going to do is just grab a palette knife and just pull this out a little bit. And get plenty onto the back of the knife. I'm just going to lightly touch and see how this spreads. And I'm really just trying to see how this spreads. I'm just trying to create some interesting character. I see you can kind of hear that scraping noise. That's actually probably not what I want. That probably means I'm using too much pressure. And I want to really have a very light touch, very light pressure as I move this around. Again, the goal for this stage of the painting is just to have an interesting texture behind, and kind of also to kind of get used to using the knife and get used to applying paint with a knife rather than with a brush. One thing I always want to do is make sure that I'm constantly cleaning off the knife and drying it off. And keep that handy and just stretch more paint out onto from the canvas, from the palette onto the canvas. Just very lightly spread it. At this point, I'm not paying attention to the subject of the painting at all. Again, I'm just trying to get used to the materials that I'm using. And I'm just trying to get a little bit used to the way the knife and the tool that I'm using behave. Again, cleaning it after every application so I can make sure that I'm getting the maximum amount of paint on both the sides and the back of the knife. Something like that. Again, cleaning it off, pulling it out. I'm really just trying to spread this evenly, well, using the word evenly sparingly there, but just trying to spread this across the canvas and to get rid of areas that have excess paint. Make sure that I'm spreading that excess paint across. When necessary. Again, cleaning the knife. I may also go over this several times as I do this. Really very gentle pressure, trying to barely touch the canvas. Gonna grab some more paint. Grab the correct brush, spread this out a little bit, and then just take a glob of it like that. And now I'm going to try to be a little bit heavier with it in certain areas. And be a little bit more thoughtful about the direction that I want the painting to go. Cleaning it off after every use. And just rolling the knife around in the paint like so. And again, just trying to be mindful of our original sketch as I lightly touch the paint to the canvas. I can kind of feel it being tacky already a little bit. Ooh, there we go. Really very light pressure here. See how I just scraped that paint away by accident? I have to be very careful because as it's beginning to stick, I am beginning to feel the urge to apply more pressure. When I feel that, what I should be doing instead is actually cleaning my palette knife and grabbing more paint. Again, just rolling it gently through. A little bit too much. That's okay. Very lightly back and forth on the palette as well. And again, starting here, just very light and gentle. Very light and gentle. Very, very gentle as I spread the paint out. Trying very carefully to be mindful of the direction the knife is going and that I'm not putting any of the edges into the paint. I'm just trying to gently pull this down. While being mindful of my camera's temperature. Clean the palette knife off. You can see me kind of stopping myself most every time. I'm just so excited to apply the paint that I forget what I'm actually trying to do. And what I can kind of feel happening is the knife kind of pulling me down. But really, what I wanted to do here was overcome two things. Number one, the fear of actually starting the painting. And number two, I wanted to overcome my fear of actually using palette knives. Um, they are much more difficult to control versus a brush, and they are kind of have a mind of their own. And it can be very easy to let yourself be consumed by wanting precision, whereas a knife will help you to create some of that more chaotic nature of the natural world and really help you overcome the apprehension of trying to be a perfect painter versus just sitting down and making the painting. Very light pressure, very light pressure. As I am picking up paint on the canvas, I'm trying to not dig my knife into the palette. I'm trying to just let my paint, my palette knife glide over the top of the paint. That way it applies to the back of the knife rather than to the blade. So I'm feeling myself get dug in. Now that paint on the side there, I think is why I am getting a bit dug in, which is why I am taking paint off when I want to be applying it. But I am seeing a lot of really kind of very interesting shapes take form already. For the next layer, I'm also probably going to use a gloss gel to help the paint be a little bit thicker, and that'll also help it flow a little more using the knife. Right now I'm using the raw paint because, again, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I'm the kind of person who will jump right ahead and just decide that it's time to do the thing without actually having to pause to think of what I actually need to do the thing. Clean my knife again. Ow. It doesn't feel like I'm picking up a lot of paint, but I really am. Um, right now I'm kind of thinking about the shapes that are going to be in the foreground, so that I have some thicker paint there as well for our subsequent layers to grab onto. And then I kind of want to have curve up in this direction, like so, because that's the way that our ridge is going to go. That. Let me grab a fresh paper towel, clean the knife, and grab some more paint. Again, I'm just going to try to go roughly in the same direction. Try to be mindful of where our foreground is going to be. That's where I want there to be a little bit of a darker indication. Cool. I'm going to leave us there, and I'm going to pause for a moment and let this dry. I'll be back on stream. Well, first, before I do that, let's also take a brush with some water. And what I want to do is smooth out some of this a little bit and pull out and change some of the texture on top here and lighten this area up just a little bit. And that'll help create different texture between our mountains and our sky. Cool. I'm going to let this dry. I'll probably be back on stream in a couple of hours to keep working on this a little bit further. But I will see you guys then.